Hello, thank you very much, Sandra. My talk today is on you are all psychic and use it to your advantage. So, starting by introducing myself, my name is Dayle Adams, and I have worked with Spirit for over 25 years, delivering messages and giving guidance to clients in the UK, Europe, and the US. Something we were just discussing in our breakout room, that how, although it was COVID, it's allowed us now to reach further with our online ability. I also educate people to elevate their psychic skills. And through this work, I have come to realize that all of you are psychic. A little bit about me. I'm trained in holistic therapies and work at Reiki Master level and also use crystals and energy for healing. I founded Planning Ahead of Time, which was named after my mom, Pat, where I'm an accredited end-of-life facilitator, and I'm also the podcast host of Planning Ahead of Time. In 2021, I created Night of Our Light. It is where we light hundreds of candles in honour of our loved ones in spirit. It started in churches, but last year we moved it out into community where people can light candles inside and outside of their home on the 3rd of November each year between 5:30 and 7:30. And from a business perspective, I once won Entrepreneur of the Year and was invited to Downing Street to meet the then Gordon Brown. This isn't just about me, I want to talk about you. Psychic ability is a natural skill. It is not a rare gift, as is so often believed. The intuition lives inside your body and your energy system. So let's create some awareness of what that is. What I would ask is that you raise your hands digitally or realistically if you recognize any of what are on the screen. Have you ever had those butterflies for no reason, or that feeling of other people's emotions and you're taking them in as an empath? What about that sixth sense or even goosebumps, which somebody just had in a breakout room with me? So hands up, Eve. But put your hand up if you've experienced any of these things. Okay. You see, we are all energy, and we've had so much talk today already about energy and wellness. It's fantastic. But we're made up of it, we're surrounded by it, and we are interconnected through it. And yet everybody's energy is completely different. So let's say, again, raise your hands if you will. Have you ever stood in a bar or a coffee shop and somebody's walked up very closely to you and you've instantly felt uncomfortable? And yet you've no real reason as to why. They just make you feel uncomfortable. They haven't even said anything. Or other times you can feel like you've known someone for years and you've met them minutes ago, but you can just feel that your body is letting you know that you are aligning with that person or not. And the one good thing is the more we develop our skills, we can actually learn to protect ourselves from other people's energy. Now, it is scientifically proven that energy never dies. It simply transforms, which is why I can work as a psychic medium and communicate with people who are now in spirit. But what about you? Do you talk to your loved ones in spirit? Whether that's out loud or in your head, again, please feel free to raise your hands if you wish. Do you talk to them? And do you feel or hear a response? Because people will tell me they hear the voices. What about being guided by them or feeling their presence around you? So often people will say that they can still feel somebody, even though they are no longer physically here. They can sense that person's energy. And when you ask them things, all of a sudden it happens. When you need some support and guidance, that's how I actually came into this work, through my granddad guiding me to the psychic medium who told me that I had this ability, and then she trained me to develop it. How many of you have signs that you can relate? Robins. Again, please raise your hand if you will. Do you relate anything to your loved ones in spirit, whether it's robins, feathers, when you see a feather and it just happens to align at the time when you need that support? Mine are butterflies. I have different family members in spirit, and each has their own butterfly. If through this chat so far, at any point you have raised your hand or nodded or thought, yep, I've had that, you have worked psychically. But the reality is that since childhood, we have been conditioned to ignore it. And yet psychic ability, as listed on this slide here, it is that knowing, that sensing and feeling, something that you can't see. It's information that you've not been told. It's the energies of others. And yet we're told what to do from a very early age. We're told to be logical, to think about it. We have this beautiful innate skill, our own internal guidance system. It needs developing, but most of the time we're told to ignore it. The reality is everyone can run, but only those who are trained in it become good at it. All of this means that you are your greatest tool if you tune in. So I'm going to ask you some questions, and you're going to have about 10 seconds on each one to think or to respond to it. And what I'm going to ask is that you just accept the first answer that comes to you, whether you write it down or not. What comes to you when you hear these questions? How often does your head overrule your heart because you think it's what you should do? When have you taken someone else's advice, even when you knew it was wrong for you? You can see some people writing, which is fabulous. How often do you hear your words and recognize those as somebody else's words? When I read this to my daughter, she went, "Yes, I am my mother's daughter." I thought, yeah, my words. When have you gone against your inner knowing and wish you'd listened? A final question. What would your heart and soul want now if your head didn't stop them? Because interpreting your intuitive responses allows for more personal fulfillment and professional success. Because when you do these things, if your head is overruling your heart, those decisions tend to be made in fear. If you're listening to someone else's advice, you're misaligned. If you hear the words of other people, these could be your limiting beliefs. And if you're going against your inner knowing, it's through self-doubt. But what would your heart and soul do and want to be doing if your head didn't stop them? They would want to be living your soul's purpose and living your life with faith. However, as we all know, our lives are busy and we spend most of them in our beta brain, which is our waking state of consciousness, doing, listening, thinking. And for our intuition and for our psychicness to come through, we need to take a breath. When people talk about mindfulness, a lot of people think you have to sit in a yoga pose by a lake or for long periods of time, and you don't. You're actually doing this already every day when you just go into that little daydream and you just take time. But what we need to be doing is just allowing that psychicness to surface and feeling what is going on in our body and not just ignoring it. So a lot of people think to be psychic, you need to be using tarot cards or you need to have crystal balls, and they are in fact tools of the trade. They're what we use to help us to tune in. Now, cards do have a specific meaning, but the rest of the tools are simply to allow us to focus and tune out of the brain chatter. And most of the time we are simply connecting to the energy of the person or the situation that we are reading for and dealing with. So when I do intuitive and psychic development training with people, we work with all sorts of different items, from plants to buttons, ribbons to signatures. We've even read wallpaper. Yep, wallpaper. Because when you start to work with your intuition, you can use so many tools to help you to determine the people and the circumstances and what is aligned with you and what isn't. And you can strengthen this awareness through practice. And if you just think, how would that benefit your business if you could tune into yourself more, into your clients, into your suppliers, and into your team? Now, as I've already said, we're all unique and our energy is our own, and therefore your intuition is your own. So when your body reacts to something, pay attention, because it is telling you exactly what you need to know. Because your head might be saying do it, and your pit of your stomach saying, oh no, I don't want to. Also, we spoke earlier about it, notice how your mood is changed by other people. Are you surrounding yourself with the right ones? Be conscious of what you hear and see, because your subconscious is taking it all in. If you are constantly listening to negativity, you'll be taking in. Positivity is what we're needing. When you walk into a room, just take time to feel the energy in it. Are you aligned with that room, with those people, with that space? Because you need to trust in yourself, because your body is your best guide to what is right for you specifically. Interpreting these intuitive responses will literally change your life and allow you to live authentically. When people start talking to other like-minded people around the psychic space, some of the sentences I hear so much start with, this is going to sound mad, but, or you'll think I'm crazy, but, it's really weird, but, and you'll never believe me. But I do believe them. I always believe them, because mad, crazy and weird, well, bring it on, because that is our reality a lot of the time, and it's who you are. And so I'm saying embrace it, because it will, as I've just said, change your life. A couple of comments from people who've done some intuitive and psychic development work with me. And it's about connecting to yourself and your inner knowing. It's enabling your body and your energy system to determine how you interact with the world. And by determining that and changing it if needs be, you will in fact change how the world interacts with you. And this brings about that personal fulfillment and certainly professional success, because you'll be aligning. So my 5 tips for today for you to take away is your body will tell you everything you need to know. So believe it. Your energy will radar will pick up on negative environments. So trust it. Protect yourself from other people's energy or drop it. Fuel yourself with a positive environment and control it. And if something seems wrong, it probably is. So feel into it. Psychic and intuitive development is a life skill, and it is not just for those wanting to work in the psychic field. Thank you very much for listening. My QR code will allow you to contact me via WhatsApp, or you can send me an email or visit my website if you would like to read about my work or find out more about it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dayle. A fascinating topic. In fact, it even made me reach for my tarot cards, which I haven't got out for years. So yeah, I had the intuition to do that thing. I've recently had a reading with Dayle, and it was phenomenal. If you've got any questions, drop them into the chat and we'll pick them up. But yes, and there's lots of comments in here, people resonating with what you said, Dayle. What is the first step that somebody would take if they've got this feeling that there's something else, or they're tapping into something but they're scared of it because when we first spoke, I said, don't bring me any dead people.
You did, yeah, you did. Um, I think we're always fearful of what we don't know. But so many people just feel that there's something else there, or they have things happen. And this is why I say about the weird and mad, because people say, oh my God, this is going to sound crazy. But I was just standing at my window and I was doing the washing up, and this robin just came and it just sat on the fence, and I just felt it was my dad. And I'm like, that's not crazy. These are signs, and spirit will work with you to give you signs. And equally, when you've got that intuition and you have those knowing, those goosebumps, those feelings, sometimes we just simply don't know how to interpret them. And they can be scarier when you don't know. Um, People will say to me about being empathetic and picking up other people's energy and how difficult that is. And it's like, and I can't drop it. And I feel like I'm carrying that negativity home with me. And I don't want to take it home with me. And it's about learning how you can protect that and, if you like, embrace your skill, but also know how to control it. And most of the time, I'm not tuned in. I'm just me, but I can tune in like that when I need to and when I'm asked to.
Yeah, it's interesting because my dad's funeral, it was during COVID and we weren't allowed any people. And I sat in the garden because we weren't allowed indoors with my two sons who were allowed to come to the funeral. And my dad loved his shed. He loved pottering around in his shed. And as we sat socially distanced in the back garden, it was a beautiful day, the sky was blue. We watched a butterfly on the shed, and then it took off and it landed, or it came around each one of us in the garden one by one, and we all turned to each other and said, that's Grandad, and then he flew away. And it was very, it sent shivers down us at the time, but we knew it was him.
It's just sent shivers down me, and I do wonder how many other people here have also just got the goosebumps when Sandra said that. Well, if you have, again, maybe raise your hand because you're picking up that intuitive energy. Yeah, I see Jacqueline with her hand up there, and Danny's nodding. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Dayle. Really inspirational. Could you go back a slide? Somebody has asked if you could go back one. I think they want to screenshot it, which would be really helpful.